Hi guys, welcome to our podcast Supposedly Adults, where we are four supposed adults sharing our quote-unquote youthful experiences,
talking about the most random life topics,
giving our thoughts that no one cares about,
and just trying to make life suck less.
That's right, so I'm Jensen.
I'm Melody.
This is Calvin.
And this is Lyris.
And today's random question is, can I get a refund on my sister, please? Hi guys!
Hey.
Hello.
Yo, so I think we do have a very interesting dynamic here. So Lyris and I are sisters, and Calvin has a sister. And Jensen's is a single child. So why not we talk about siblings?
I have a dog sister.
Oh, you have Fafa's dog as a sister. So let's talk about siblings. I think I have a lot to talk about.
Wow.
I felt like there's a lot of
You just want to talk about someone in the room. Don't really know who though.
Okay, so let's shout out to Albany, by the way.
Albany, what's up? Miss you.
That's my sister, by the way. Albany's my sister.
Yeah, so have you ever wanted a sibling, Jensen, as a kid?
No, I always say this before, where like if I want a sibling, like I'll have one particular
You
type.
ask your mom to make you one.
No, it's like too late. It's like basically like she can't do because. No, I want a twin, but like you can't ask for a twin. You're already born.
I've always wanted a twin
Right?
too. I want an identical twin. So I want somebody who looks exactly
Yes,
like me.
same.
Who do shit for
Are
me.
you self-obsessed? Is that why you want
No. So I have an auntie in Macau, and they were twins, and because their family didn't have enough money to afford schooling for both of them, so they take turn to go to classes, and nobody knew
They did that for a year.
for the entirety of their schooling.
I've heard people doing it for a
Wow.
prank, like they swap schools.
Yeah.
But,
Oh, I think that would be cool too,
Yeah.
like Freaky Friday situation.
yeah.
No, that's the mom.
Anyway, but yeah, I've always wanted a twin. That would be so cool.
No, I don't.
Yeah, that.
I want a twin.
Really? Why?
Why not?
Because, okay, I already have, like, okay, my sister's like 6 years older than me, so
Yeah.
we already have like some sort of distance, but I still get recognized as Melody's sister all the time. They're like, oh, are you Melody's sister?
Oh, as in you don't have an identity.
Yeah, they're like, oh, you're always Melody's sister, and then whenever they see you, they're always like, where's your sister? And I'm like, I don't fucking know. I can't imagine the sheer amount of that question when you're twin. They'd be like, where's your sister? I'm like, I don't know. Don't you have like this like telepathy or whatever shit? You guys are connected? Like, I can imagine. It would be so rough.
It's true. No, because the thing is, we already 6 years apart, so supposedly the competition
yes.
is not that big because we're not easily comparable in a sense because
Yeah,
I'm a
'cause
lot
different
older.
time.
But the awkward thing is when my sister went into high school or primary school, let's say primary 1 or elementary school, right? Then my mom would go back to my elementary school report and take out my school report to check out and to compare
you
our results.
serious?
My mom was 6 years.
Wow.
I'm already in middle school by then, but then she would go back and take out my school
Wow.
report.
Yeah,
and compare.
I talked to a white friend the other time. I was like, oh, my mom was like when my sister graduated uni with first honor or whatever, and we were taking photos, like graduation photos, and my mom just went next to me and pat me on the shoulders and be like, no pressure. And I'm like, no! And then I told my boyfriend, he was so shocked. He was like, wait, what? My mom made it like a huge effort not to compare. I'm like, no, she doesn't even try.
Oh yeah.
But it's something like unavoidable.
Yeah, it's fine. It's okay because I'm like close to my sister and we're like 6 years apart.
Oh, I hated it as a kid. I guess that's
your
okay. I
part?
guess the pressure is on me
I love
because I
this.
hated it because we also have very similar hobbies and interests. Like we
Really?
learned the same thing. So we learned piano, we danced, and all
But
that.
everyone
so we
learns
have very
piano.
yeah.
We're Asian, come on.
No, but the thing is, every hobby or extracurricular activities that we do are the same. So it's very easy to compare. So let's say, I suck at piano and I hate at piano, but then you kind of not have to practice but still got really good score, then there's so much pressure on comparison.
Really?
I hated it.
Do you have that?
No, I don't really. Okay, so Albert and I were 3 years apart, so we're closer than you guys. But no, I don't know. My parents always make an effort not to compare.
No, but
So-
people, the larger
Oh,
social
that is
system.
true.
Oh, yes.
It's not
That is
just
true.
the
It's like the aunties. Oh,
Yeah,
it's
that
the
is true, that is true.
aunties.
To compare between
Asian
like
aunties, yes.
They always
But
do.
To be fair,
Do you
no.
get compared?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
no
yeah.
matter whether you're a sibling or not, you'll be compared to
Yes,
someone
yes,
in the
yes.
world.
It's true.
Yeah,
Like
that is
my
it.
my friends. Yeah.
Your friends of the same age.
No, it's like my friends, aunties, like niece or whatever. It's like so far removed.
yeah,
like
yeah.
who
it's like,
cares?
yeah, that one also been to where you did, and then something.
Yeah, like why?
No, but I can imagine because you guys are different gender. It's probably.
But
less
no,
intense.
but I don't know. It's a thing in Hong Kong though, right? Like I always feel bad for my sister because she's only 3 years younger than me. So we went to the same like elementary school.
Oh, I cannot imagine.
Oh, dude!
Oh,
and I remember.
I'm so lucky we just missed each other.
Yeah, yeah,
every
yeah.
school.
That's true.
Yeah.
It's true. It's
Yeah.
true.
Like I remember, and I just learned this later. My sister was telling me how when she was younger, they're like the teacher would be like, "Hey, are you Calvin's sister?" Or you know what? You should be more like Calvin. Like I'm not saying I'm good,
That's
but
so
this
messed
is
up.
like that's
Yeah,
what
that's
the
just a bad
teacher would
teacher.
say,
Yeah,
right?
that's a horrible
Yeah, like
teacher.
and then sometimes they're like, "Oh, Alvin, you need to do better. You need to catch
That's
up
dumb.
or whatever."
It's so
Like
stupid.
even the teacher, as an educator,
Yeah.
they would do that.
Albany, you're
Canada?
great.
Is
We
that
love you.
Canada? That was in Hong Kong.
Oh yeah,
No.
Hong Kong. Hong Kong is
But
very
no,
bad.
the same thing in Canada though. Like they're because it's not like they compare, right? But they always just be like, "Oh, you're Calvin's sister." Oh, then again, I'm not saying whatever. This is what they said. They're like, "Oh, you must be really smart. Then you're Calvin's sister." Like, and I just learned this later. That was actually putting a lot of pressure on her. So I always feel bad.
Can imagine,
feel bad for her. I cannot imagine that.
It's really bad. I can't.
I
Like,
feel
you're already
so
dealing
bad.
with a lot at school.
Right?
You have to have that. It's really bad.
Yeah. So that was kind of dumb.
But I can imagine the identity thing because theoretically, in a way, I've established my identity before you came into this
Yeah.
world. So I've been
As
a
a
single
6-year-old.
child. Yeah, as a 6-year-old.
I know what I'm gonna do with my life.
No, but at least I am an individual and I am an independent identity. But then you've always been a sister.
I've always
Oh,
been a
I have a
sister. I've
question,
always
I have a
been the
question.
sister.
Yeah.
Oh, you're the
Um,
sister.
Have people always address you as, "Oh, you're Melody's sister"? And then like they
we're-
did, instead of remembering your name, they were like, "Oh, you're just Melody's sister." Does that happen to you
Sometimes.
before?
Sometimes.
Because
Yeah.
no, I was just saying that just because so my Chinese name is Yat, right? So and then my sister is in Chinese is Mui Mui. So people always
Which
hold
means
on, hold on.
Mui means
Mui means younger sister in Chinese. So my sister is always being referred to as Yat Mui, as in Calvin's sister.
Really?
So she never had her name. She always being referred as Calvin's sister.
damn.
So because when we were younger, we moved to Canada. We live with our cousins. We live with our uncle, right? So that's
sad.
always has been her identity. So for the entire
That's
time.
so bad.
So it never occurred to me because it never happened to me, right? I always been called my name, but turns out, and this just show how bad of a brother I am because I never noticed. But then, yeah, my sister hated it the entire
Obviously,
time.
yeah.
So
I
you
can
talk about the
imagine.
identity. That was her identity, just being my.
I'm so sorry. No, but
Yeah.
I think our situation is kind of different just because I don't know, people think we look very much alike. So people keep mixing us
It's
up.
crazy. Okay,
Asian
you were
folks
So
are
I
like
don't
You guys
even
get all
the-
like the bad parts of being a twin and none of the good parts.
Can I
I don't even
When you were saying that you wanted a twin, are you experiencing that? Saying that?
Yeah, I
when
feel like
now-ish?
I am kind of experiencing it now because people would come in, are you Melody or Luris?
It's crazy.
Or they'd be like,
Okay, it's
and
crazy.
nobody knows my name. So unlike Calvin, I guess at least you're being called your name, but still people don't know my name because they don't know if I'm Melody or Luris.
That's I don't know. Hashtag all Asian looks the same.
No, yeah, context is like my sisters, we are 6 years apart.
Yeah.
So she's like almost 30 and I'm like
Yeah,
in my
true.
early 20s.
I was just saying, is it an insult to Lyris or is it a
I know we say
compliment
that.
to Melody?
I don't want to bring up this topic at all, but
I
you know.
I know. Because I'm
Funny.
just very mature. Like, very,
Look.
I just learned.
no, that's just like, it's so weird. I don't understand why they could mix us up.
I don't get it.
Insane.
Okay, I swear, I don't
When
think I'll
I
mix it
was
up.
younger, you two did look the same. Not
When you
height
were
wise.
younger though, I
When we were
know.
younger, she's literally like this.
Yeah, height wise, obviously I can tell. But like your facial features are really
Really?
similar. Like when you were younger, the
So
similarity was much more stronger.
Really?
Yeah.
Interesting.
Anyway.
I don't
But
know.
yeah.
I don't know.
So I guess we got the worst of all.
But I have a question though.
Yeah, you
like,
guys-
just be honest, right? Okay, let's be honest in the podcast. Do you enjoy having a sister? enjoy having their sister?
Okay, go on.
Fight.
I'm gonna leave this room right now.
I love the fact that Alvin is not here and I can just say whatever. And I just ask
He's gonna kill you when you get home.
I know.
I used to hate it. Because Jensen was asking before this episode, who was like, oh, have you ever wanted a sister? I'm like, I begged for one when I was a kid. I loved it. I really wanted one until I got one. And then I started
hated me for 10 years straight, like full on.
I legit hated
full on for
it.
10 years.
I think it's a lot about jealousy as well. Like as a kid, I literally hated it because, she obviously got more attention because she's younger. She needed more help. Because I'm 6 years older, right? So if anything, I would be on my own and she's like whatever. And then let's say if I'm studying and my mom is yelling at me and I'm crying, then she'd be this cute little munchkin came out and was like, oh, sister, don't cry, and pass me a tissue paper and everybody's like, aww. And I'm like, dude, why are you here? Why are you getting me
Why are you not like this?
And it's so
Okay, to be
annoying.
fair, they forced me to do it. They like shoved the tissue paper on my head and be like,
Go
go. And
to
I'm
her.
like, I don't know what the heck is happening.
But you wanted a sibling like when you were younger. You
Oh yeah, I
wanted-
wanted one
before
because
I
Yeah, before you came, of course.
me.
Without the knowledge of what like that actually entails.
No, because I always wanted something. I don't know. I guess as a kid, you always imagined to have a friend that you could play with or hang out with.
Yeah,
I guess we're just so far apart
Yeah,
that
we're
we
so
didn't get
far
to. So by the time I'm playing my computer, she's still cooking on like fake eggs and.
It's
fake
so interesting
egg
you
whites and
wanted like a little sister. I honestly, my mom like was toying with the option of adopting a little sister for me, but like I was very indifferent to it from what I recall. It's just like
How old were
having, I think maybe like definitely less than 10
Okay.
that age,
Okay.
where I didn't really feel like I wanted anything. Like if anything, I knew that I really wanted a twin. I think I just watched too much Zack and Cody.
Yes.
That's it. Like I just wanted a twin. I don't really care about anything else. That like if I'm the older one, I feel like I'll just be like Phineas and Ferb. I'll just be Ken.
No, but I do think it's interesting because of the experience. I always feel like the younger one always get to get away with things, and they always don't have less responsibility and whatnot. So if you ask me if I wanted a sibling, I would say I don't mind, but as long as I'm the younger one. Like if I'm a sibling, I have to.
hell
be
no.
Do you
No
want to be the
perspective.
younger? Do you want to be a younger? Do you want to be an older sibling?
I don't know. I never really thought about it. I never really had the choice.
What about you? From your perspective?
Yeah, your perspective
Do
is
you,
more important.
Lyris, do you
Yes.
enjoy having Melody as your sister?
Do you
No, as in,
enjoy
do you
having
wanna
an
be
older
elder
sister?
elder
Yeah.
sister or the younger?
Oh, that's
Yeah,
it. Oh,
yeah.
both.
Okay, both.
'cause
Okay,
I
I'm
want
gonna
you
answer the
guys- I want
first
you guys
question
fight.
first. For the first 10 years,
Blackout.
for the first
What's appropriate to say?
for the 10 years of my life, I have a sister that really hates me, so I don't know how I could feel about that. No, but we're really close now. Like I feel like
Yeah.
since I don't know when.
Since I went to uni.
Since she went
Since
to
I moved out.
Yeah, since we had some
Ooh.
distance, we got really close, and then it's really nice to have. I feel like it's good to have a sibling. If I ever have kids, it's either 0 or at least 2. There's no way I'm getting. Sorry, Jensen. I'm not gonna have one kid.
Jensen adapted very well.
Yeah. No, the thing is, because for me, I feel like a sibling is good because it's someone to
grounds you,
talk
right?
to. No, it's someone to talk to. Because even if you talk to your friends about your family issue, they
yeah.
might not exactly understand. Because
Is
there's
there
a lot of
context
nuance.
and
Yeah,
stuff, yeah.
context, nuances. And my sister just gets it immediately and be like, oh, mom did this again. And she'll be like, oh, I know. Like, I don't have to explain
Yeah.
or whatever. Or sometimes when I rant about my mom, like, oh, my mom did this. And they'll be like, yeah, what a bitch. I'll be like, how dare you? You know? And it's because it's like, I get defensive for my family because like, you don't get, like,
Yeah.
I am ranting about my mom, but my mom is so great. You can't say that.
Yeah.
But with my sister, she can, like, get that balance.
Yeah.
So that's why I would
Yeah.
100% recommend having a sister.
I felt like you liked your sister so much because you didn't get any for the first 10 years of your life. And now you're like, oh my god, finally.
Maybe I'm like, oh my god, no one, like, she doesn't hate me anymore.
We just have a very dynamic relationship.
Wow.
Let's put it that way. No, but I do agree with what Lyra said. I think I'm super thankful to have somebody to kind of discuss things with.
Yeah.
So let's say if there
Yeah.
is this big thing that happened, then I have somebody to kind of share that burden
Yeah,
with
yeah,
and
yeah.
to discuss on what we should do
yeah.
next.
Yeah.
So I think it's good. And it's always it always feels like it's the two. I feel bad for my mom.
Yeah.
Sorry, mom. But then it's always the two against her. Right?
Yes.
So it's always us
I
against
did not
the
have both
big
of you
boss.
for this. No, wait, back to the question. So, would you prefer, knowing what you know, younger or older? Which one would you want to be?
Sibling.
You
I
still wanna
love
be
being the
younger?
younger sibling.
Why?
Yes.
Why? Explain.
I just don't like taking responsibility.
I just don't want to be you.
I don't want to take
Your life.
It's really bad because I didn't I wasn't conscious of how much I didn't realize how much my sister was taking on until when she went overseas to study. I'm like, wait, now I have to make conversation with this random auntie. I'm so confused. I was like, wait, what? Because I genuinely did not realize how much I was just chilling in the background. I commend myself for joining in the conversation already. And I'm like, wait, I have to start it now? Like, no. So I like being there.
Do you like being younger? Hell no. I'll never be the younger one. I always want to be. I always love being the older one. I don't know. I don't know. I just don't like it.
Is that?
Well, yes and no. Yes and
Just
no.
doesn't want to
I
be
don't
called
know.
the
Like,
sister's little brother.
I don't know. I feel like, again, Albany, I'm sorry. I know I'm not a good brother, but I don't know. I love being the one who protect and
guides
provide
you,
and help. Like, I don't like being helped. I rather being the one help my sister. Like, I'm not saying I did a lot. I'm not saying I did a great job, but I'd rather play that role than being helped. I don't know. Maybe it's an ego thing. I don't think I can ever be the younger one. I don't know. I hated it.
No, but I actually did this for one of my projects and during my master's. So I wanted to basically research and study on siblings and how the age gap and the gender composition changes, whether that changes their perspective. So a lot of times when it's both the same gender, the older one always wants to be the younger one, and the younger one always wants to stay the younger one. And then
That's true. With N of one, that is true.
and then if it's a different gender, the elder one is always happier being the elder one, which is very interesting. I don't know why.
Really? So even if
Again,
it's like
N
the
of
older
one,
one is
right?
the guy and the younger one's the sister, and vice versa.
Yes,
so
yes. And also, it depends on the age gap. So the closer the age gap, the more happy they are with what they are.
Oh,
But
okay.
the
What do you
larger, I don't know, maybe it's the responsibility. Because if, let's say, you're only 2-3 years apart, the responsibility is not as much. Like, the
It's kind of
unfairness,
split.
the unfairness is not as obvious.
See, this is why I want a twin.
Yeah, that's true.
Exactly.
And it's also the
But twin, there's also
There's
sort of like a
I know there's like
older-
the few minutes, but it's more of like, even with that few minutes, you still get the leverage if like you just don't want to do it, you push the other one to do it. You get to share both like being the younger sibling and the older sibling at the same time. That few minutes, of course we don't have that experience, but
You know
like,
what?
No,
I
I think it still matters. Like the younger, because I think
because
it's
it's
a
a
social
mentality
thing.
thing.
It's
Yeah.
the social role that you're playing.
I feel like
Yeah. So because we have like a common friend who is a triplet.
Yeah.
There's
Oh,
really
yeah.
yeah, we should ask them to come. So it's like the older is
a
girl.
girl, and then after that girl, and then
guy.
Yeah.
Girl, guy.
Girl, guy.
Not girl,
No,
guy,
girl, guy, girl.
Girl, guy, girl.
Jackson!
Girl, guy, girl.
Go guy go, yeah. Sorry. I'm sorry. I'm really close to them. Like we play a lot when we were younger.
Yeah, it
What
must
moment
be
time?
it must be really interesting because there's also the nuances of being a middle child, but then the middle child is a guy. So does that change the dynamic because he's the only guy in that group? Okay, we should
ask them.
That is
let us know if you have any questions for the triplet. We'll ask them on behalf
But
of
you know what? This is totally random, right? It's super random. I always thought, what if you're identical twins, right? So one is being, I don't want to say taken out, but one is born a couple minutes earlier than the other one, right? Okay.
I mean that happens.
It happens. I know. But since they look exactly the same, what if they're like, oh, the nurse
mess it
forgot, like, oh, which one's first? This one first. And then you know what I mean?
Yeah.
that is why the social roles are completely arbitrary.
That's why I think we should have, like, people should always have permanent markers.
They label their kids. They have to
And, like,
label
I
their
just came
kids.
out to label it. You know, have you ever seen Office? You know Dwight? Dwight was like, yeah, you need a marker and make a mark that no one knows, no one understands, and only you know, so that you know this is your kid. Because I don't know. I don't know. I think
Switch your
it's
birth
just
to the same. Is a thing.
Yeah. No, I think a lot. But what were we talking about? About older.
about marking your child.
Like older sibling, whatever.
No, but actually, now I'm like rethinking about it. If I was a twin, I would want to be the older one so that I can just hold leverage over those few minutes whenever I need to.
What
then at the
leverage?
same-
Like the thing is,
The
what
few minutes are
privilege-
really important. Like,
But do you-
watch that can go.
But the question is, I don't see any privilege
Excuse me.
that comes
Okay,
with my
sorry.
elder
Excuse me.
sisterhood.
Okay, are you kidding me? Okay, in Asian culture though, the older one always have a lot of say, and they get the inheritance.
If I'm a guy,
No. Elsa in Frozen, does Anna get to be the queen? No, Elsa got okay.
Yeah, but Elsa has to live alone. Doesn't have a boyfriend.
No,
She has to make the biggest sacrifice in Frozen 2.
no, she loves it.
Oh, okay, whatever. She has powers though, so
Yeah,
that might
she
be.
has powers.
she gets yelled at when she hurt the sister.
Cause she fucking killed her sister. I think
That was swear.
take responsibility. They killed her sister.
Wow, this is very intense. I did not know this
you know
topic.
what? All the lovesy tufsy stuff is so boring. Tell me why do you hate your sister so much with the first 10
Yeah,
years?
let's talk about
Let's talk
stories
about that.
about-
Yeah.
No, I think it is the ego. If I think about it now, because let's say I remember my grandmother was very angry with this incident. So she told me, I forgot about it actually. But then my sister was practicing piano and she doesn't know how to do that, so she tried to ask me and she was like, "Oh, gaze," or which is sister in Cantonese. So it's
Older
like, "Oh,
sister,
yeah,
older
older
sister.
sister. Can you please teach me how to do that?" And then I basically I was so angry. I was like, back in the days, nobody helped me, so you're on your own. And I hated it. And my grandma was so angry.
Yeah.
And she was like, this is your responsibility as an elder sister to help your younger sister. But I always felt like, I always have this grudge of why are things so much easier for her? Because there's always an elder sister teaching her how to do that and not have to, she doesn't have to make all the mistakes or be yelled at just because she's younger and there's somebody else to help her. And I had this huge grudge over it as a younger kid.
You do, eh?
Yeah, that's why I
She
hated
does.
it. That's why I feel like it's really unfair.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of this fairness and unfairness that I am very angry
So
about.
on that topic, let's pick up more. Like, what's your responsibility?
But if I was a twin and I'm the older one, I would be an older one, but I wouldn't have that issue.
You don't have to help them because
Yeah, it's like how can I help them with that 10 minutes?
Yeah, I guess so. I don't know. I really don't know.
What do you like as a single child? Like when you listen to
Yeah.
these stories, do you like get it, or it's like
Do you
weird?
go like oh thank God I don't have siblings.
Yeah, I feel like the whole conversation right now, I'm so sorry for like the moment of losing your ears.
Sorry, I was very passionate about Frozen. I guess I didn't know that about myself, but you learn something new every day. I guess.
Yeah, but like the whole conversation, I felt like the feeling of, oh, I'm glad like I didn't have to go through this.
Yeah.
That was great.
I don't know. It was really tough for me. But again, maybe it's just the ego and the grudge.
Yeah, I
of-
think
Which
so.
I can like understand that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I get it. I don't know. I don't know. I enjoyed it. Honestly, I enjoyed it. I never thought like, oh, I had to go through this. You didn't. I don't know. I kind of did. Like there are moments of it. I was like, yeah, I did it myself. Like, well, why can't you do it? But usually it's towards people that are outside. Like to I don't know, because my dad always instilled
Also,
this
it's not to
idea
your
to me.
little sister.
Not to my little sister, because my dad always introduced this idea to me, saying that like, oh, you know, Calvin, one day you your mom and I we're gonna be gone, and your sister is gonna be your only family left. So you know, like you gotta take care of each other. You gotta take care of her. Like ever since I was young. That's
Yeah,
why
but
I
they
always
focused on
felt
taking
like.
care of each other. You know what I was taught? Every
Yeah.
time my mom has to go on a business trip,
Yeah.
she'd be like, "You're the eldest one here now. You're in charge of this family."
Excuse me?
I'm like, what the hell? Why?
Maybe it's because you were 10 and I was 4 years old.
true.
I never thought that I was 4 years old.
I don't know. I would love it. Like, hold on. It's different though. Like, okay, why do you hate it so much? Do you remember in school? Like, we were in school, and then teachers like, oh, give you a little bit of responsibility, and kids
And
are like,
you're
oh
like,
my
yeah,
god,
yeah,
I love it. Like, you're the totally opposite. You're like, why are you telling me to do stuff?
Because I think she's
Like,
too
don't get
used
it.
to it that she actually knows
because the
what
thing
is
No, because the thing
responsibility.
is, every time I hated it. Let's say if me and my sister were just in the room doing our own
Yeah.
thing, and I don't know, for whatever reason, she started crying, and then my mom would barge in and was like, "What did you do again?" I'm like, "What?" She literally just started crying on her own. Like, how is this my fault? But then people kind of just assume that it's my fault. Maybe that's why. I think we have very different childhood.
Wait, so if it's two like brothers,
I think the three of us can discuss why people think that it's our fault later. I mean, let's not do it in front of her.
would it be different if you two were like a brotherly relationship instead of like a sister one?
Why?
Is there any like?
We beat each other. Like I beat her up a lot.
She bit me.
Well, wait.
We're
You're 6 years younger
Yes.
than her.
It
So when
goes
you
to show
beat
how
her
good of
up,
a sister I am,
she
guys.
was already more
Exactly.
physically developed than
Thank
you were.
Yes. So
Okay,
she
please
became
tell us
bubble
more.
her
I
clothes.
would love to hear.
So many
Who
advantages.
cares?
No, okay, I don't remember any of these. These are all like I only learned about
Okay,
it when
okay.
I was my grandmother loves hearing these
Yeah,
stories.
yeah, yeah.
Because there's one point I beat my sister up so bad
Yeah.
that she went to the window and be like, "Don't come near! If not, I'm gonna jump!" or something like that.
Y'all are
It
so
was
dramatic.
intense. And then but then my grandmother was just sitting at the side, just watching this whole thing unfold. And then I did not care, and just like went straight in and just
No, but I remember my grandma always said one of the lines that I always say every time we're in an argument.
Yeah.
I said, "You're not 2 years old. I don't know what are you. Stop pretending to be a 2-year-old."
My sister said her favorite movie is Boss Baby because that's exactly how she felt. Like, do you know Boss Baby?
I didn't watch it.
But it's basically about like a baby who is actually like a boss,
Uh-huh.
like actually like
But basically,
an adult,
like
you
a
can play the
grown
victim.
adult.
yeah. He's actually an adult,
Mm-hmm.
but then she's pretending to be a baby, and then that's like that's my childhood.
Oh, that's the concept.
It's true
Oh,
though.
okay.
That's what
Like
I
when
thought.
nobody's here, then this baby becomes a boss and talks like a man. It was like dissing, trying to, do shit, and
Yeah.
then people come in. It's a baby, so people yell at that other older kid. I don't know.
You know
that's
what?
the truth.
Throughout this whole
I'm very
conversation,
passionate
all I
about
can
this.
think of is what a failure you are, Melody, as a big older sister. I mean, as you mean you never leverage it. Like if you're the older one and you're 6 years apart, you should be bossing your sister around instead of just being beat up
what
and all
happened?
that.
What's wrong?
See, I think if they were like two brothers instead, like the older one will boss the little
It's
one
true.
a lot.
Yeah.
Why?
I think I'm just too nice.
Wow.
And the just thing I'm just
In the podcast, you're welcome.
The rest of us just laughed when you said that and say
fine.
nothing.
Okay, but
I would
okay,
just
to be-
disbelieve like, oh
I think
wow,
to be
okay,
fair,
you're going.
okay, let's like put it back to like now, because now it's because my sister's a lot older than me,
Yeah.
so I'm talking about my struggle as a younger sister. Because everyone's like, "Oh, the younger sister's the best," whatever. But there is certain like struggles with being a younger sister because because my sister is like very accomplished now. She's like amazing.
That's
whatever
true.
she
That's
like
true.
went through like
You gotta
school
give her
like
credit.
masters and all that.
Yeah.
And she got like a great job and
Yeah.
like even like either it's like family or whatever or even myself, I compare myself to that at the same time, or like, oh, your sister is a lot like, oh, or my mom still compares a lot. It's usually like about how my sister is very hardworking and I'm not, which is true. I get that. She's like, oh, your room is so messy, look at your sister's room or whatever. And like sometimes I'm like, usually it kind of gets to me. Sometimes I'm like, oh, I compare, I'm like, oh, why am I not as good? But then at the same time, sometimes I also have to remind myself that I'm also 6 years younger than my sister. So I am comparing to a person who is 29 years old. Well, while I'm 20, not 29. You're 28.
20,
Sorry,
29,
28. 20, I'm 22.
Oh, okay.
So
Yeah.
I'm at 22, and then I'm comparing to a person who's 28 years old.
Yeah.
So she has like 6 years more of experience
Yeah.
than me. Obviously, I still have to learn from her,
Yeah.
and it's a good thing I should learn. But at the same time, I also have to remind myself not to beat myself up because I'm like, that's not a fair comparison. I just have to learn from her and then slowly grow into that instead of like wanting to be her right now.
That's true.
So that's another
That's true.
revelation. that I
Hashtag
That's a very good
excuses.
point, yeah.
Excuses.
I also fear that it's an excuse.
I'm just
Exactly.
kidding. I'm just kidding.
Yeah, but it's also like it's just something that you know.
But okay, so what? Now I'm just thinking about it. You guys 6 years apart. Have you guys ever share a room?
Why
before?
is it our podcast?
I love it. I love it.
interviewing
I love
us.
it.
Like this is the one where you two are the actual siblings.
Yeah.
We're making
I
fun
love
of it.
stirring up dirt and make people fight, and I just watch.
And
You know-
then and Jensen's just eating popcorn on the side.
Exactly.
And then no,
Exactly.
and he was like, but if I have a twin,
I really want a twin.
twin comments, I love it.
I really want a twin though. Like you can feel it.
No, I'm just wondering. Have you guys shared a room before?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
How is it like? You guys are so.
It's back when
like,
she hates
You
me.
guys like go in bed together.
It's not
turn on like
cute.
flashlight and just talking to each other.
No.
Oh,
I think you're thinking of like pajama party with like girls your old
Girl, like
age.
pillow fighting.
yeah, and you start kicking your legs. You know what I'm talking about?
I remember the triplets that we were talking about. So I actually liked the format of the room because, like, obviously in Hong Kong it's not much space, so they're all crammed into one room together. But I always loved their bedroom because all their beds are connected. One of them is like a
Really?
double-story bed thing. And after that, it's basically like a castle to me. When you're young, you just climb
yeah.
everywhere.
Oh, I remember that.
Yeah, it was cute, but you know, I like having my own room now.
Would you consider them as your sibling-ish? Because they're kind of like your like what's it?
we-
Kite. They're kite. They're kite.
like
sister.
God,
Your God
Yeah,
brothers,
right, right.
God brothers, yeah.
I think you're like kind
Because
of
we were
sibling-ish.
really, really close. We lived in like the same neighborhood when we were younger, so like we always play with each other. Then like we all had some falling out when when you're younger. I also remember that part. Yeah, they were basically.
Tell
my
me
siblings.
about it. What was
This
the
is not.
falling
No,
out
we had
about?
these two. Let's focus here.
You should see, I
when
love
they
stirring up
come
stuff.
back,
Tell me.
we'll invite them and then we'll
do you
talk
think being
about.
a single child kind of like do you see the difference between a single child and like your friends who has siblings? Do you find that different? Like
Yeah, like
What do you
personality-wise.
yeah, personality-wise, or how they talk to each
yeah.
other, whatever. Do you see the difference?
As in, like, wait, what difference are you getting at?
I don't know, like in general. Like I can notice difference between myself and like single childs because in my squad we have squad.
Oh, yeah.
Who am I? What am I?
Squad.
Got the goals. No, I don't know who I became that one second. I'm like, what is happening?
Take this way.
So like my group of friends, we have like a lot of like people with siblings, and then we have like one who is like a single child, and that I always find the difference between us, like in like.
I can really tell the difference between elder sibling and a younger
What is
sibling.
What is the differences between a single child and people that have siblings? What do you notice? You can close your
Yeah, isn't it?
Over here.
It's different because you grew up with like I don't know, like they're more. I don't know. It's just the people that I have met
Of course,
personally,
including
not
Jansen.
Jansen.
Are we more spoiled?
I think they're a bit more entitled, I guess, in some sense.
true.
Sometimes.
That's true.
They're more they're not used to sharing. I think that's the thing. They're
Yeah.
not used to
That's
sharing.
true.
But
They're
also
not used to compromising
Yeah.
because growing up as siblings
Yeah.
from a very young
Yeah,
age, you have to
absolutely.
start compromising.
Yeah.
Otherwise, you get yelled at.
Yeah, otherwise you get or you get into a fight.
yeah. You either fight or you get yelled
Yeah.
at. No, if you get into a fight and then you get yelled at.
Yeah.
That's like
You
the
get yelled
secret.
at if you're the elder one.
I get yelled at.
Never letting this go.
No, but at the same time, there's also a lot of good that, like, for example, for Jansen, like, as a single child, I have never seen his entitled side yet.
Yay! I get it.
Yeah,
But
Jansen
the thing,
is
the thing I've noticed is that he's a lot more comfortable with older, like, auntie and uncles, and he's a lot more sociable. He's a lot more comfortable with, like, talking to other people. I like in social events, I always only stick to my sister. I
Yeah.
never talk because
Really?
Yeah, me too.
I notice a difference because whenever we go to like there's social events, when
Yeah.
you're here, I'm always only with you. But if you're not there, then I talk to other people.
Yeah.
Then I make friends. But if I'm with you, I never make friends. I think that's the and then you are always super like
Yeah, all my
chill.
single
Agreed,
child
yeah, I
friends
know.
are very extroverted and they have a lot of friends.
Mm.
Which is great. Because the
But
thing
is
is,
it-
I don't feel like there's a need because we can always just talk
Yeah.
amongst ourselves.
Is
Yeah,
it true?
but so do you feel that like when you meet someone you can like sort of tell whether they're like have a sibling and like whether they're a single child? I guess maybe siblings are able to tell that a bit more because they see the comparison. Because
Oh.
when I go up to someone I can never tell whether like, oh, you have a sibling, like it'll be like a huge surprise to me.
No,
'cause-
again, I can tell the difference between younger sibling and elder sibling.
Ah,
Like,
okay,
it's
yeah,
very
that would
easy.
be
Even
fair.
amongst your friends, there.
I think it's
I can read through
don't,
them like a
I don't
book.
really. It's not necessarily like horoscope. Be like, are you a Libra? It's not like that. But it's more like,
I-
oh, you have a sibling. Ah, that makes sense. Do you know?
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
more
I
of
never
like
had
that.
that
Like you
intuition.
can make the connection.
Oh.
Like when you learn, oh,
Yeah,
you're the
yeah,
older
yeah.
sibling. Ah, that makes sense.
Yeah,
That's why
yeah,
you're so
yeah.
responsible.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
I think that's like the connection.
I
there.
never
But it's
had
not-
that intuition. I keep thinking that everyone's a single child.
You already keep forgetting.
Yeah,
that
I keep
people-
forgetting that. This is, everyone has the same life.
Oh, interesting.
But you have to
you
shit.
two are two different single child, but you guys look
Yeah,
the
but
same.
you live in the same house.
How does that work? Oh, you guys are roommates. You guys are roommates.
It's so foreign to me. Like, I always forget that kind of
But
thing.
you have like experience. Do you have the like? Then do you think roommates are basically like siblings?
No, like I had a roommate once. I don't know whether I don't think he'll be listening to this
Say
podcast.
his name. Say his name.
The thing is that even if I wanted to, I can't remember. Because it was I'm sorry. It was such a traumatic part of my life that like I just wanted to block out.
When?
So when I moved to Singapore and like I was studying in secondary school, my parents didn't live with me, and like I lived in this hostel near like super close to my school. I literally just wake up
So
5
it's
minutes
not the
before school.
school's dorm. It's
It is actually technically the school's dorm, but some other I don't know how did it work.
Yeah.
Anyways, I lived there. I lived with this person. And yeah, it was just the nastiest. Like it was just so nasty every
In
time I would
terms
go
of,
back
like,
to the
cleanliness.
just
Like what?
cleanliness. I
Okay,
think
okay.
just I don't know whether all single child people think like me, but like I do. I've been raised like well enough to like kind of keep my things and just like there's an invisible barrier that you don't cross. But you know, like obviously for my situation, that barrier did not exist.
Okay, tell me, what is it? I
It
want
was
to
just
know.
super messy.
So they even like create mess or
Like it was a really small room, so like I can't really follow him, but like books were everywhere. Basically, like there's that pathway between like the two beds.
Yeah.
It's definitely always filled up with something here and there. The floor, like I don't really recall him frequently picking up a broom.
Did
or
you
a mop.
recall seeing the floor?
Every time I mop, every time I like sweep, it's just like, oh my god, why is this gray?
Is he a single child?
I think so. I believe so.
Oh, that makes
The
sense.
thing is that because like the first few times I already saw like how he lived, and after that like it just kept building on. I never really had a long interaction with him. So like I did try, don't get me wrong, it's not like I completely isolated him, like I hate him. I did try, and like there are points in time where like, maybe it would change if I talked to him like once or twice.
Yeah.
And after that I just gave up. Just like it's going nowhere, and just like, you know
Oh
what,
my god,
it's
that's
okay.
so sad. Like it must be so difficult.
Yeah.
living
Yeah,
with
so
somebody
like being a
who-
single child has its perks. Just not having to deal with that. Yeah.
But do you think it's like, oh, it's lucky that if you have a sibling, you're born into a sibling family, like a family with a sibling that works well with you, or do you think this is something that you have to proactively build?
Oh, that's a good question.
Yeah, because I have a close. Okay, I have a close with. I don't know why am I struggling with it? No, I have a
Is
close.
that you don't truly believe?
I have a close relationship with my sister because I was thinking like, how do I say like. Not recently, but you know,
But,
whatever.
like-
I have a close relationship with my sister. We always like get along
For
really
12
well.
years.
Yeah, for a long time. And then and I cannot.
Barely
But
half
I've
of
met
it.
people who like genuinely dislike their siblings.
Genuinely dislike.
Genuinely like. So some of them like just do not get along at all, and some like genuinely like just dislike each other. And then it
Really?
kind of like shocks me because I'm like, because. Like in theory, you think that they have to get along because they came from the same family. They're they're the same parenting,
upbringing.
same
Yeah,
upbringing, same
yeah.
values. They should get along, but they don't, and
Yeah.
it's really interesting. I don't know.
At least they understand each other since they're the
But
same
they don't
environment.
like. I full on like.
Like, is it something happened? Okay, so a drama, we can stir up drama. So this is not my family. This is my other side of family, right? And then usually like the sibling fallout, and actually you can see it in the news. Usually they fall out is because of money.
Money, it's true.
Because of I don't know
Ooh.
stuff like that, right? Usually there's an external factor, and they're like, oh yeah, they fight for it, and the greed took over and all that, right? So I don't understand. Like for young kids, they have nothing. What are they fighting over? Like Gundam?
No, but I
like,
think it
what?
is. I think it is again the personality. Like some people you just
Don't get along.
But I think it's the same thing as with friends. Like some friends, the moment you meet, then you guys are super close. But then some friends, the moment you meet, you just
That's
dislike.
true.
But at the same
That
time,
is
you do
true.
like I do feel like relationships in general, you do have to just try to put in that ounce of effort
Yeah.
to like kind of come to the middle ground. If not,
Compromising. You
Yeah.
need to compromise. Yeah.
But that's the thing, like compromise, because that like what are you compromising for? Like what's the reason? It's like because you're living in the same household, so you don't get to choose a sibling, so you have to like find. It's like if you're living together, you have very different lifestyle. You have to find a compromise so that you
Yeah.
can live happily. But what if they're separate? Like what if they grow up and they have their own family? Do they have? Is it like
they don't have
do they
to.
have to get along? Do they have to like have that relationship just because they're siblings?
Like I would argue it like being the same as keeping friendships from like your high school, like primary school years is their value, but you guys grow apart. It's just that you guys have such a common experience already. It just seems like kind of a waste for you to like, oh, I'm done. Like this relationship's over, that kind of thing.
Because in Asian culture, they will have to always argue like this is family. You don't get to choose your family, and you have to work like no matter what. That's
Yeah,
your family. You
yeah.
have
Yeah.
to meet them.
Yeah.
So it's like
Obligatory.
Yeah, it's obligatory.
Obligatory.
Yeah. So then, do you like in Chinese? Do you have to meet them? Like, do you like that's like?
Do I have to meet my sister?
Yeah.
What I mean?
Do you want to?
Like, do you have to keep in touch proactively?
Do you have
Yeah.
to?
Because like, is that like a responsibility?
I don't think
Yeah.
like it's not like you have to. We just do. We just do.
What
And-
if
But
you
that
don't
is
want
because you
to?
guys are
You
close.
guys, you guys
You
are
guys
close.
are
Like,
close.
I
I
would
don't
meet
know.
my sister.
Okay,
because we
well-
want to, but do you have to? hang out?
well, I don't know.
I
My sister only
honestly
called me
think
when she has
maybe I'm
problems.
just maybe I'm just too individualistic. But it's like,
Yeah.
what relationship you want to build with your own sibling?
Yeah, because
And-
I know. Growing up, I've always thought that as well. Like, family is family. Your parents will always be your parents. You don't
Yeah.
get to choose. That's why you have
Yeah.
to respect them.
Yeah.
But as I grew older, as I see more unfortunate families and traumatic experiences of people. Let's say if my dad is abusive or my mom is abusive.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Do I still have to love her unconditionally
Exactly.
just because she's my mom? Like, I feel like there is a lot of these type of
In Asian culture, it is yes. The answer is always yes. 'Cause that's
Which
your
I
family.
always found it, again, I'm really individualistic and westernized,
Yeah.
but like I always find that logic so flawed because I don't want to deal with people that don't really do anything meaningful to my life or don't really help me grow as a person. I don't want to stick around that bad energy. Why do I have to subject it just because quote unquote blood is thicker than water? It doesn't make sense to me.
But I can argue that again. I can argue that because of that experience, it's actually a way of teaching you. Like, first of all, you know not to be like. Let's say your parents are abusive, for example, right? Then you learn that not to do that. But you're also learning, right?
Yeah.
At the same time, you learn not to treat your kids as a certain way, and also because of that experience, it make you tougher, make you change how you look at life.
Yeah,
you know?
but
Do you
I
still
don't
have
need
to
to.
have a relationship with that
Exactly.
person? Do you still have to meet them during Chinese New Year?
No, I think that I totally agree with your logic. Then that should be applied to friends as well. Why
It
is
is,
family
yeah.
especially different?
is.
Like, if that's the case, there's this friend that you really dislike, but that he or she might be here to help you grow and to help you,
Exactly.
learn and stuff.
Yeah.
Then you should just keep a relationship with everybody.
Yeah, that's the thing. Because the parents thing is because you are always in debt to them. Because your whole life is because of them. Like if you don't have, like if they didn't exist, you didn't exist. So there's always this. You're always like. I don't know how to say. You're always like, oh, you owe them. You always owe it to them. So you always have to be. So if you cut off that relationship, then you're being ungrateful. Then you're, like that's like the weird. It's hard to wrap my head around this.
But I remember I was talking to Auntie once, and she's a Buddhist, and she was just telling me how like we know that it's fate that we met, right? So it's also fate that that person become your siblings, or
Yeah.
your parents, right? And then what we know is that every relationship you can always learn something. You can always take something from it, right? And then the thing is, like once you kind of once that fate is over, then basically because I don't know, like
I know what you
now
mean.
how we met each other is because we owe each other.
Yeah.
Either I owe you or you owe me in our past lives, right? And that's why this life we met. But just by knowing that, then we know like certain things because there has to be a reason why your parents are being abusive to you because of karma, relationship, and all that, right? So if you always have that mindset, then you're not going to be angry to that person anymore. You're not going to hold grudges because like, oh, there's costs and there's consequences because of the karma.
Then it means a relationship does not have to always hold them. Because if
Yeah,
that's
but then-
it, that's the fate. The fate
But
ended.
then
Then
you can play it in
go
my head and be
ahead.
like, you're not going to hold grudges anymore. And that's why you can still somehow have a relationship. It's not going to be hatred towards each other.
But it's still it's still a conscious decision, right?
It
so for
is.
example, do you move away? That's a conscious decision. Do you come back to meet them?
Yeah.
That's
But
also
then
I understand the mentality wise, right? Like
Yeah.
whether you forgive them and whether you have a relationship
Exactly.
with them is also different.
But that is also a decision whether you forgive that person or not.
I could forgive you, but I don't want to see you. I could
But
forgive
is
you
it-
and
No,
not
I
want a
guess,
relationship.
the difference is at what point do you decide that this is the end of a relationship and we just kind of end it there. Like, I don't have to hate you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We could just
That's true.
coexist.
Yeah.
That's true
So
too.
okay, like in
Yeah,
a personal note, right? Very, very personal. Like for our parents got divorced very young, so we always have like a kind of like rough kind of like a hard relationship with our father, and then we always had grudges before. Like we didn't see each other because we have grudges.
Get upset.
We get upset,
over a
yeah.
decision.
But then now I could, like, at least I speak for myself. I don't hold any grudges with my father anymore. If I want to see him, I will see him. But the thing is, like, this person is just another person to me. Like he's just not
Just
my
coexist.
Yeah, we coexist. Like if I like, it's just a friend. Like it's your birthday. I would like to like have dinner with you, and then we'll have dinner, and that's just. We still have a relationship, but that's not a father-daughter.
And it's a lot more
relationship.
pleasant because you don't have expectations on that person
that's
anymore.
true.
So when you don't have expectation,
point.
if that person do something bad or whatnot, it does not affect you as
Yeah,
much
yeah,
because
exactly.
this is just another
Yeah.
person. So maybe the ultimate goal is just to have that mentality with everybody. Then you're
Especially
always
with
happy.
your siblings.
That's it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
This is again, that aunt is so wise, and I think it's also Chinese thing. She always teach me that you need to treat your friends as your family and treat your family as your friend. Because for friend, naturally you give each other space, right?
Yeah.
So that's why in family you need to give each other space. And same thing with your friend, because they're like, you quote unquote, you're the outsider. So that's why you need to be warmer to them, treat them as your family. So in a way, basically, it's saying that you need to treat everybody equally, give each other space, and at the same time be compassionate, and love towards them. So I think that. That's a lesson she taught me, and I always found it's like, oh yeah, that is very true.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Yeah.
That is, yeah. I
And I
think
think that's a
a
great way to end the podcast.
That's
yeah,
true.
I think so too.
Yeah.
That's a
And
great
I think
attitude to have.
Mission accomplished.
chill.
So
I can
it's
start all
great.
at
So
first.
I think the
Yeah.
conclusion is, Jansen, you have 1,000 unlimited sibling now, but you're also
You'll never have a twin.
single child.
You'll never have a twin.
but never a twin.
That's great. Thank you guys.
All right.
Bye.
All right. Bye.